Welcome to the Positively Focused Raw blog. For those of you who are visiting for the first time, this is my personal journal entries where I'm describing what's going on in my personal life as demonstration of the Positively Focused framework. And in this episode, I want to talk about an experience that happened during the month of December, this month. This is the last raw blog I'm going to be doing before the end of the year. And so happy holidays, everybody. But the thing I really want to talk about is this wonderful manifestation, this unfolding of events that happened with regard to my clients. And as I describe this experience, I want to express deep appreciation for my clients because they are a mirror. They are reflecting back to me my own intents and desires to be an uplifter. And as a result of my intents and desires, they have shown up and have provided me with such wonderful reflections of what I'm emanating. And they've also, every single one, has served as an angel, allowing me to perceive with greater depth and clarity what's going on in my own vibration. And this story I'm about to tell is a perfect demonstration of that. So let's get to it. So throughout the year, as you probably know, the months have different numbers of weeks. And as a result of that, with some months having 4 weeks and some having 5, my clients have to pay attention to, especially the clients who are subscribing to the monthly session service as opposed to the weekly session service. Those people have to pay attention to how many weeks are in the month, because in some months they may owe me a certain amount, but in other months they have to pay an extra week's payment. And so December was one of those latter examples where clients had to be aware that there was going to be one extra payment in this month of December. One of my clients, one of the newer ones, got that completely and sent in an extra payment after she had realized that there's 5 weeks in December instead of 4. But one of my other clients, who has her payments on automatic payment for both her and her husband, didn't realize this. And so when her payment came through, it was $75 short. So I asked her in an email, the email that I typically send her after every session, where I include the recorded session so that she can have that for her records. I explained to her that December had 5 weeks in it and she's going to have to send an extra $75. This unfolding is such a perfect example of the co-creation that I always talk about with my clients and talk about here on this video channel. So I sent her that message via email. I didn't know she hadn't looked at her old recordings for the last 3 weeks. So she didn't get the notification that she needed to send an extra $75 in to cover her husband's 5th session. So last week, when I was talking with her husband, who is also a client in his session, he had decided that he wanted to take the next week off, which was perfect timing because if you're following, you can see that there was 1 session short in terms of the payment that his wife had sent me. And so when he said he wanted to take the next week off, I thought to myself, wow, what a perfect unfolding that she hadn't made the extra payment. And now here her husband is saying he wants to take the final week off. I found that as a perfect unfolding. But then after the session, and this is why we are always expanding. This is why what I'm about to describe explains why we never arrive at any position or place or vibrational frequency of perfection, because there's always more to soothe and there's always more to expand into. And in order to expand into the more, we have to soothe current states of resistance. And often, those states of resistance are on the same subjects that we've soothed before, because we are constantly soothing resistance. So, when this client, the husband of the wife, who is also a client, when he said he wanted to take the next week off, I thought to myself, he must be feeling like he's not getting any more value. Now, this is completely untrue, because in the session where he said he wanted to take the week off, he got a wonderful dream interpretation from me, which allowed him to see a perfect unfolding ongoing in his life. And yet, here I am on my side of the conversation, thinking about, am I delivering value? And is he deciding to take the week off because he wants to assess whether or not he's getting value? So that was a negative conclusion I was making based on his desire to take the week off. For all I know, he could be wanting to go on a vacation or just wanting to relax between Christmas and New Year's. But that's not the story I told myself. And so here this client was serving as an angel, reflecting back to me my own insecurity with regard to my client relationships. Now, this is something that I work through frequently throughout the year, recognizing that I have my own insecurity with regard to my client practice. I know I deliver value because often my clients tell me that, but every once in a while, like this month, that question pops back up. And this is the thing about, like I said, about expansion, is that we're constantly soothing these old beliefs and their old yet persistent momentum. So I was feeling insecure about his desire to take the week off, and I was soothing that on Monday of this past week. I see his wife on the following day, on Tuesday. And so when Tuesday came around, I was working with his wife, and at the end of the session, I explained to her that what I'm telling you right now. And she told me that she didn't see my notice at the beginning of the month that she needed to pay an extra month or an extra session, pay for an extra week for her husband. And when she told me that she hadn't seen the message, it all clicked into place. And I realized at that moment what I'm telling you in this raw blog, that this was an opportunity for me to further soothe my insecurity around not delivering value, my bogus belief that I don't deliver value to my clients. So I shared what I'm telling you right now with the wife, and we both marveled in the perfect synchronicity. The fact that she didn't see the message in the email and therefore did not make the extra payment was the perfect setup for me to realize that when her husband said he wanted to take the week off, that was a perfect unfolding, that he wanted to take the week off so there was no need for the wife to make the extra payment. And it also set up an alert, you could say. It also set up my awareness to perceive that I still have momentum around whether or not I'm delivering value to my clients. It was such a wonderful realization, supported by the wife who did not see the message in the email, and also by the wife who had this conversation with me in her session, allowing me to realize this perfect synchronicity. So I soothed this insecurity I was feeling about her husband not wanting to come to a session next week, recognized the perfect synchronicity, the perfect co-creation between the three of us, me, the wife, and the husband, around this extra payment. And then yesterday, on Thursday, I was having an out of session conversation with another client, and that client told me, this was yesterday on Christmas Day, he told me he sent me a gift. Now, none of my clients have my address. So I asked him, did you send it to my address? How did you get my address? And he told me, I didn't send it to your address. It was a Zelle gift. Now, Zelle is one of the ways that my clients make their payments. And so I checked my bank account, and this client, who I was talking with on Christmas Day, sent me a Christmas bonus of $175. Now, when I saw that money, it was the icing on the cake of the story I'm telling you. Because that client, the one who sent me the Christmas bonus, I'm calling it the Christmas bonus, he called it a gift. He didn't know what was going on with the wife and the husband, not in physical reality, but at the non-physical level where we are all one. He was totally participating in the unfolding of me soothing my negative stories about whether or not I deliver value to my clients. And this is the great thing. His action to pay me that extra $175 not only covered, this is so good, it not only covered the cost of the husband not coming to his last session this month, it more than covered it by far, but it also showed me that, yes, Perry, you do provide value to your clients, evidenced by this client giving me this great Christmas bonus. I'm laughing now because it's just so clear how perfectly orchestrated relationships, our relationship to relationships, our relationship to physical reality, how perfectly co-creation occurs in all of that, and how when you align yourself, when I align myself with the clarity that comes from being positive, which means being aligned to the spiritual dynamics underlying how physical reality works, then I'm able to see these connections between what seem like separate, independent actions of people, circumstances, and events. This was such a magnificent unfolding and one of the best Christmas gifts I've ever received. The reception of clarity, the reception of understanding, and the reception of knowing that I am of value to my clients. And therefore, knowing that I am contributing to the expansion of all that is, contributing to the expansion of my clients' lives, evidenced by their fantastic experiences they're getting, and contributing to my own expansion, evidenced by this wonderful experience I'm telling you that occurred throughout this month of December. I love this practice, and there's so much more to share in the coming year. So for those of you who've watched these raw blog videos before, I wish you a happy holidays. Next year is going to be a fantastic year of client stories, a fantastic year of my own stories. I appreciate you watching this video, and I wish you the very best in the coming year. See you in the next video.